Keith back for 3D Most. Get the most out of your workout. This week's exercise is continuing on the squat. Last week we talked about how the foot and how ankle mobility really helps sets the stage. Now we're going to move up to the hip. Because if you've got tight hips, you're not going to be able to get all the way down. Your body's going to compensate in one way or another. This week's exercise we want to try is we want to get more rotation in the hips. We see this a lot when we see squatters toe out too much, or as they go down, their toes move even more. And what that means is those hip capsules in the back are too tight to allow that mobility to get into the hip capsule. So 2 hip stretches for us to try to improve internal rotation of your hips so that you can squat better. Keith's going to get down into a kneeling position. This is very similar to what you saw last week. We got the positive shin angle here, so we're still mobilizing the ankle. But back here, we're going to mobilize the front hip. Keith's going to lock that big toe in place. The big toe is the light switch for the glute. So as Keith glides forward, he's going to isometrically squeeze his glute. When the nervous system squeezes that glute, it turns off the front hip. So we got a hip stretch. He's going to hold that position for a couple breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth, and pause. Breathing mechanics influence how tight your hips are because the diaphragm attaches to that hip flexor. So as we do a static stretch, we're actually being dynamic in that we're breathing through it. So as Keith now comes back, we're going to do it one more time, but this time, as he goes forward, he's going to hold that. He's going to take his arms, and he's going to fly his arms back and forward. And then when he comes up, arms up again, he's going to go side to side, and then he's going to rotate. So now we're attaching the 3 dimensions of mobility to that hip. The hip is still in our stretch, but we're influencing the rest of the body, front to back, side to side, and rotation. That right there is a way to get a 3-dimensional stretch to your hip flexors so that you can squat better. We're going to stand now. Last exercise is to get a little rotation. So Keith is going to make the letter T, his right foot in front of his left foot. He's going to squat the back leg. That knee is going to kind of hide behind the knee. And he's going to put all of his weight back onto his back heel. And right there you should feel a great stretch in that posterior hip capsule. You just hold that for 1 or 2 breaths or bounce into it and do the same thing on the other side. So you squat. The key here is translating back into that hip socket. You should feel that in the back.